You're listening to I Have Some Notes, a podcast supported by listeners like you. To contribute, visit patreon.com/I Have Some Notes.
Scott, I want to make another Muppets movie.
Great. What book are we basing this one on? Is it Muppets Pride and Prejudice?
No, I was thinking we'd do like a zany caper movie featuring like Tina Fey, Ty Burrell, Ricky Gervais.
Stop. I have some notes.
Oh, and a cameo by P. Diddy.
I said I have some notes.
Welcome, everyone, to I Have Some Notes, the movie podcast with cuts, keeps, punch-ups, and tweaks on mediocre movies. I'm Liam Creswick.
I'm Scott C. Bourgeois.
I'm Greg Beaver.
And today we are discussing Muppets Most Wanted.
It's a Muppet movie.
It's a Muppet movie. I love the Muppets. How much do you guys love the Muppets?
The Muppets
on a scale of 10 to 20, how much do you love the Muppets?
21.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, the Muppets are pretty delightful.
Yeah. I'll put myself on at a respectful 15, maybe. But I did grow up watching the Muppet Show and quite loved it. And Muppet Babies. I watched a lot of Muppet Babies.
Yeah, wild time. I mean, the Muppet Babies was in an 80s, 90s kids American thing. I mean, the Muppets are American too, but Canadian cable channel YTV early on, like early days, would show reruns of the Muppet Show and the 66 Batman. And as a very little kid, watched a lot of both of those things.
Yeah. Not only the Muppets, but also some of the Muppet adjacent stuff. Watched Fraggle Rock, watched The Storyteller when it was a thing. Like, if it was a Jim Henson production, you just injected into my eyes and I loved it. Pretty much guaranteed.
Christmas Carol is a perfect movie.
Yeah.
It's like the only Christmas movie I like. That and National Lampoon's, like, truly. I like. Oh.
I actually didn't watch Christmas Carol until much later in life, and it still rocks. Even as an adult, I'm like, this is great. I didn't really watch a lot of the movies themselves. Like, I think I've seen the original. I haven't seen Treasure Island.
We glossed right over the goddamn Muppet movie, the first one. It's so good.
Yeah.
And the Great Muppet Caper, also excellent. Spoiler alert, might have some things to say about it later on.
Is Muppets in Space the bad one? I know there's one that people generally don't like, but
And you know what? I have a friend who has very fond memories of that movie. She it's one of her like childhood classics. So like,
sure, yeah,
Yeah. There are definitely some Muppet movies that are like S tier and some Muppet movies that are maybe more on like the D tier. But I don't know that there's any that are just absolute stinkers. I don't think there's a Muppet movie that's like actively bad. Because the Muppets themselves are just very delightful. So
yeah. Well, let me check her temperature on the reboot, the Jason Segel one.
I remember liking it fine.
Yeah.
Before we get into since we're going through the timeline, I do want to take a moment because I don't know when else I'll ever get to do this, and it'd be apropos to dunk on Muppets, which was that it might be the only truly bad Muppet thing. It was the sitcom that they tried to do. It was kind of like The Office or like 30 Rock.
Yeah, I'd say it was more like them trying to do 30 Rock.
Yeah, and 30 Rock is already the Muppet Show. So like, what are we doing here? And also it clearly didn't understand the voice at all. There was a line I remember in that show that like turned me off immediately where two pigs are fighting over Kermit. And he does the Jim from The Office, like look right at the camera doing the talking head, reality show style thing. And he goes, "My life is a bacon wrapped hell." And I'm like, yeah, that's a thing Kermit the Frog says. That's a real Kermit the Frog line. My life is a bacon wrapped hell, you know? Rainbow Connection. My life is a bacon-wrapped hell. It turned me off immediately. So
I do remember
and then Jason
reviews
Segel
for that
came
being-
along and sorry, good.
Yeah. I mean, I do remember the reviews for that being quite brutal, and I never did partake in it. There is a new Muppets show on a newer Muppet show on Disney Plus. Am I correct in that?
Yes, that would be the Electric Mayhem bio pick series,
Rock bio
docu series. I have watched one episode of it, and unfortunately, just never got back to it. But the first episode was pretty funny.
I got 2 in, and then Amanda was like, I'm not watching this with you. And I'm like, well, I'm not making time in the rest of my life for this.
I mean, fair enough. Hey, there's a lot of TV to watch, and I find that that's a regular thing that seems to happen where I start a series, I get to the end of season 1, and I fail to move forward with it for whatever reason. Lots of Netflix shows where I was like, that was a good first season. And then I was like, whatever.
Yeah. But yes, and then the Jason Segel era, that movie was fine. I like how much enthusiasm he had for it. Like, that's kind of what endears that whole movie, is just how much Jason Segel is stoked to be doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this.
I will say that the end of Muppets gets me every time when they are coming out of the theater after having failed to save it, and then the crowd is there, and that gets me choked up every single time. So I definitely have a lot of feelings when it comes to the Muppets.
Yes, I believe we all do, which is why it's so sad to see them locked in the Disney vault. Because this movie was also fine. It was fine. Came out in March of 2014, directed by James Bobbin, Flight of the Conchords fame, and the writer of the first one, written by James Bobbin and Nicholas Stoller, who wrote The Muppets, the Jason Segel one, and Get Him to the Greek. And based on Jim Henson's The Muppets. It's got Steve Whitmire as Kermit, Statler, Beaker, Rizzo, and I'm gonna just say the names of
this seems wrong. It stars Kermit and Miss Piggy and Gonzo.
Yeah, I Greg, leave in me stumbling over this. Greg, what are you doing here? It stars Scott is correct. It stars Kermit, Miss Piggy, Gonzo.
I'm ruining the kayfabe. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I mean the people that it actually stars are like in terms of the humans is Jermaine Clement and Ricky Gervais, Ty Burrell, Tina Fey, and then the usual swath of cameos, some of which are like real blink it you missed it kind of stuff.
Yeah, the James McAvoy one is
Yep.
People are just excited to be on set with the Muppets. I mean, for as much as Disney has arguably fumbled the Muppets as a property, and done them a disservice by not capitalizing on their popularity when they've been popular and letting things just kind of like bottom out and then trying to make them popular again, the Muppets still have mystique. People still want to be in Muppet movies. And that says something, like that they can still line up huge stars fresh off of Oscar wins to like do a zany one-liner across from Kermit, and they're excited to do it. Like that's what the Muppets are. And Disney can't seem to figure out what to do with them. And that is astonishing to me. Like, it is mind-blowing that the Muppets aren't a bigger property and a bigger IP today than they are. And it's just I don't I feel like Disney's sitting on a pile of money that they're just not making use of here.
They also bungled Star Wars, so like clearly
I mean, fair.
They have a money printer and they broke it.
When you turn something as magical as Star Wars or the Muppets into a churn of content, like let me rephrase that, a slog of content being churned out. I guess you kind of inevitably ruin the magic, and maybe we should be thankful the Muppets weren't Star Wars'd.
Yeah. Well, to Liam's point, when you do have that as large a gap as they had with the Muppets, you miss the opportunity of getting a bunch of new kids in there with nostalgic feelings about the Muppets, right? So you've got a generation of kids who grew up without those characters as part of their childhood, and that's just kind of a missed opportunity, obviously, from a business perspective.
And the easiest thing in the world for them to do is to just make the Muppet Show again.
Yeah.
The formula's right there. You take the Muppets, you do a vaudeville style variety show with sketches and a celebrity guest and some music. The Muppet Show.
Yeah.
Like,
they did that
there.
John Mulaney live Netflix thing. Why aren't you like either have Kermit behind the desk, do a live like streaming? Like there's so much opportunity to do. Yeah. I want to the do Muppets, but it's live. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, but Muppets Most Wanted sounds like it's just slightly above average in the Muppets canon. It could be worse, but they're always much better. So why don't we go to the trailer and plot summary, and then we'll talk specifically about Muppets Most Wanted and not wax nostalgic.
The world's greatest criminal has stolen the greatest treasures, escaped the greatest prisons, and he bears a strong resemblance to someone you know.
It's not easy being mean.
It's Constantine, the world's most dangerous frog.
Check this out. Ah!
Oh, look, it's Kermit.
Ah!
Ah! Well, what did you do with Kermit?
There must be some mistake. I'm Kermit the Frog. I'm not Constantine.
You're going to be here a while.
Hi-ho, Kermit the Frog here.
Kermit the Frog here. I am Kermit, and now you guys have all the freedom you want.
What?
When do I do the indoor running of the bulls?
I can't watch.
Muppets Most Wanted.
Sigma! I am not Constantine.
Lights out! Turn them back on. I can't see anything.
Everybody's feeling alright.
The Muppets are back and they're out for revenge. Dominic Badgey has snaked his way into becoming the Fuzzy Variety Hour Troupe's manager, usurping Kermit and replacing him with Constantine, an uncanny lookalike in the world's most dangerous frog. The two villains have Kermit sent off to a Russian gulag, while Miss Piggy, Fozzie, Gonzo, and company are snookered into performing as a cover for Constantine's crime spree. Constantine's gambit? Give each Muppet whatever they want, and no one will ask him any questions. Except for one pesky little Muppet named Walter. Remember him? No? That's okay. This movie almost did too. While Constantine courts Miss Piggy, Walter and Fozzie uncover his true identity. They quickly zip off to Russia to save the real Kermit from a life of performing song and dance for comrade Liz Lemon. Can Kermit and the gang return in time to stop Constantine from marrying Miss Piggy and stealing the crown jewels? Well, it's a Muppet movie, so what do you think the odds are there's a happy ending?
How brave it would have been if it wasn't.
Yeah.
just have the Mist type ending for the Muppets.
No, the Muppets.
That's how you ruin some childhoods.
For sure. The Muppets work best optimistically, though. The Muppets were always meant to be kind of an optimistic property. So, of course, they have a happy ending.
For sure. I wouldn't expect nothing less.
Had both of you seen this before?
Once, yes.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. This was my first time with it.
Oh,
glad I didn't rush out. Yeah, it was fine. I don't want to keep saying that, but it was just kind of like I was engaged. The songs were genuinely pretty good. It did make me laugh a couple of times. You know what it was? It was a real roller coaster of like, there was stuff that genuinely made me laugh, really fun, really funny, true blue Muppet material. And then there was stuff where I'm like, what are you doing? What am I looking at? And within 5 minutes of each other, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. This movie is puzzling to me because it's very meh. You described it multiple times as fine, and that's very accurate, but it's also hard to pick apart exactly what's not working in this movie because it's quite tight. Like everything is kind of like baked together in such a way that I feel like you can't like take the eggs out without ruining the whole thing, if that makes sense.
My notes will disagree with that. I have a pretty clear and concise fix.
That's good because I have some problems I can point out, but I wasn't sure how to fix them. So
yeah, I don't know that I have much in the way of fixes, at least not yet. And part of what I find puzzling about the movie would rip apart the entire premise of it. So yeah, that's definitely walking right up to our no page one rewrites rule.
It's also been a very long time since I've seen The Great Muppet Caper. Is the thing with a Kermit with a mole and a mistaken identity, is that part of Great Muppet's Caper as well?
No. Muppet Caper is more Miss Piggy gets framed for a crime that she didn't commit. And the brave group of reporters who are Kermit, Fozzie, and Gonzo set out to try to prove her innocence and catch the real thief.
Okay.
And spoiler alert, Great Muppet Caper is like top 3 Muppet movies, maybe the best Muppet movie. It's very, very good. And if you haven't seen it, it's much better than this one. You should go check it out.
I'm embarrassed to say I have seen it, but I was assembling IKEA furniture while I watched it. So I don't know how
fair enough.
Focused on to the point where I couldn't remember if the mole thing was from it or not. But
no, this is a contrivance for this movie for sure.
Fair. Well, then what about just the cast? Can we just get the Ricky Gervais out of the room and be like, wow, he's a drag?
Yeah,
he's a drag even before we all knew how much he sucked. He's like not good in this movie.
Not really.
There's an argument to be made that this movie spends a lot of time with Constantine and Ricky Gervais. And that they're almost the main characters of the movie in a way that's detrimental because the Muppets should be the main characters of this movie, but it really feels like the movie's about Constantine and Dominic. And that's not good. That's bad, in my opinion. The Muppets should be the stars of the Muppet movie.
Or at the very least, someone should be more fun and charismatic than the Muppets. And then these two characters are not good even when not compared to the Muppets. Just in a vacuum, they're not particularly fun characters.
Not really, no.
I loved this scene where Constantine was trying to mimic Kermit's voice. That killed me every time, like both times I've seen it. I've loved it. But yeah, I mean, outside of that, yeah, he's mostly fine, but he's not like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like that character is good enough to really hang the entire movie off of. Yeah. And as we mentioned, Ricky Gervais is pretty absent, I think. I don't know that I don't know that his style of comedy necessarily lends itself well to the Muppets. And it's just generally a drag just to see him because he is, a giant prick, and like his entire thing is being an asshole, and yeah, like trying to squish that into a Muppets movie just doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, exactly.
So probably a bad idea, even in this era of Ricky Gervais.
Yeah, even good Ricky. Like I wouldn't want to see Hunter S. Thompson work with the Muppets. Like I love Hunter S. Thompson, but that would just not. They don't click together. Like what are we doing? Like. You can't put an asshole with the Muppets. Jeremy Clarkson, take your pick. Like it just,
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing that struck me was that, like you guys mentioned, like the Muppets aren't really the central characters. And it struck me how often I kind of forgot about them at all. Like like Walter is the character that kind of gets everyone going back in the right direction and going to save Kermit and that kind of stuff. But he just seems to disappear and fade into the background, and he has so few lines, and even in terms of like the camera, the camera isn't focusing on him. And often it's really weird because like you're like, usually, the camera's very good at telling you who the main characters are, right? Mm-hmm. And in this instance, like he always seems like he's in the background, and then all of a sudden he's the driving force. It just doesn't make a ton of sense to me. And yeah, like all the other characters, right up until like Fozzie begins to piece together who Constantine is.
Yeah.
Then like there's not a lot going on with the regular cast.
Yeah, it's Animal, Fozzie, and Walter who figure out, like, in that order, that there's something wrong with Constantine. It could be any other three Muppets. It does not matter that it's those three.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's weird that Kermit's closest friends don't recognize that there's something off about him.
Extremely weird.
It felt really contrived how easy Constantine was able to pull the wool over everyone's eyes. Scooter doesn't figure it out. Gonzo doesn't figure it out. Miss Piggy doesn't figure it out. Like that kind of, it weirdly rubbed me the wrong way through the movie.
It's exactly what's wrong. And I'm just going to go ahead and explain my main fix. I cut Constantine out of the movie entirely. You can do everything with the Ricky Gervais character that those two do, you can do without Constantine. Cause it adds, other than a couple of funny lines of him trying to get over his Russian accent. And I guess because he's like kind of Russian, it ties to the Gulag, but you can have the Gulag without a character who escaped the Gulag.
It's true. You can, for sure. I have two other like notes about the movie. Mm-hmm. One is this movie is very noticeably missing Muppet magic. That is a term that my friends and I talk about a lot of the older movies, where you can tell that they've put the effort into the craft of the puppeteering. And it's mind-blowing. Some of the stuff they do in the original Muppet movie, in A Great Muppet Caper, just, and it's sometimes it's just simple stuff like a Muppet opening a door and a human walking through that door and the Muppet following through that door and then closing the door behind them. You think about the technical mastery that needs to go into making that look smooth, and it's jaw-dropping. And they do stuff that's
even in a Christmas Carol.
Magnitudes above that.
I think I've seen multiple video essays. Oh, sorry. I think I've seen multiple video essays about that bicycle scene. I don't remember which Muppet movie.
There's a couple.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. You're right. There's a lot of really, really good puppet stuff typically going on.
There's like a dash of it that I wanted to see. Oh, finish your thought. But
it's missing in this movie. You can tell that it doesn't have that level of polish or that level of technical. Like there's a scene where Constantine is clearly being CGI'd in, having been manipulated in front of a green screen. There's other stuff that's clearly green screened, and it's missing that Muppet magic. It's missing that level of technical mastery that makes the earlier Muppet movies look so good. And that's sad. It makes me sad.
Yeah.